Hey, what's up, guys?
I'm Jake.
And I'm Tyler.
And we're in the woods.
Welcome back to another episode of Spirits with Spirits, and today we're on location, in a haunted location.
In my parents' woods.
So we've got some stories that we're gonna go through with some fancy little creatures called Skinwalkers, and we're gonna talk about some interesting stories that Jacob's actually encountered here.
I've got quite a plethora of stories about that house and these woods. So we've got a lot to talk about.
It might not look like it. It might look like we're in the middle of the day through these lights, but if you can tell behind us, you can't see anything. We can't see anything past the camera. It's just a black screen right now. It is 9:55. It's late.
It's late, and while we were setting up,
we heard some rustling.
We heard some crazy noises. It sounded like there was a beast back there.
You'll hear like little scurrying, like little raccoons and stuff, but this thing was massive.
Something was moving, and as soon as we turn all these lights on, it stopped.
We don't know if something's watching us or if we were watching it. So if you see us just look off into the distance, it's probably because we hear something.
We're scared.
Yeah.
But how we start off every episode of Spirits with Spirits, we need to try a spirit.
Yes. So this one we've actually tried before. This is Kraken spiced rum.
The Kraken.
Which we did a few videos back when we were ranking creatures, and the Kraken made an appearance.
It certainly did, and we're gonna try this black spice rum, which is 94 proof, and we don't have any chasers.
So it's gonna go down straight, and you're gonna get an honest reaction.
Oh, and we also have the REM pod.
If it goes off, who knows? It might have been us.
These woods may be haunted.
ASMR.
Oh,
you should have like...
Dang. Oh, maybe I can do this. Oh, I definitely heard that.
Oh, yeah.
Let's even it out. Let's even it out. Put it down. Put it down.
We're cooking with fire here.
All right. What you hearing?
I hear some leaves rustling.
What was that? Was that the REM pod?
I don't know. It didn't make a beeping noise.
What did I hear then?
I don't know.
You didn't hear a beep?
No.
What the hell? Also, while we were setting up, as soon as we walked in the woods, you heard a whisper?
Yeah, so we were setting up cameras. We're sitting here just in silence for a minute, and I hear whispering, and I'm like, what did you say? He's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, did you just whisper? And he's like, no. And literally like right in front of me, I'm hearing.
We're like this close.
So he doesn't hear the whispering, but I hear like somebody's like breathing on my face.
And that's how we're starting the night. And with the shot. No chaser, the Kraken.
I like it. I haven't had this in a long time. You good?
Yeah, no, I'm fine, I'm fine.
Fun story about Kraken, actually. When we were 18 and 19, we took a fun little trip to Canada. Obviously, we can't drink in America because the age is 21.
So we're going crazy.
Jacob grabbed himself a bottle of Kraken rum, and then I did what any person that had never drank before at this point would do and grabbed a pack of Twisted Tea and Budweiser while I'm, on a trip and could have tried anything in the world that I wanted.
He had anything at his disposal, and that man said, oh, some Budweiser.
Yeah, let's just get anything that you can get at a 7-Eleven in America. Like,
granted, I can also get this here, but it's a little out there.
Anyways, we downed a whole bottle, but we were there for 8 days, 7 days.
10 or 11 maybe, I don't even know.
Shoot, we were there for a long time. We'll link the videos down below. But one of our shoes, Jacob's shoes, got stained.
White van.
Brought the white vans, and the Kraken poured all over it, and it is spiced, so...
it'll stain your shoes, basically.
It'll stain, so...
That's why I never wear white shoes when I drink the Kraken, except for today.
Except for today. So, just a fun little teaser story from our history, our past.
Speaking of past, we've made so many videws in these woods.
This is true.
Stupid, like sketch comedy kind of vibe.
Videos that probably will never see the light of day again.
They shouldn't. We got them though.
But we're gonna link them now.
No shots. It's kind of fun to come back now and it's like, oh, we've got like gear.
Back then we had just a camcorder that was just probably what, 720p? And we would just go with whatever lights around. Now we've got stage lights and microphones.
Yeah, but we're still doing it. The
we're making it.
Still there.
Yeah.
Let's freaking get talking.
Yeah, let's do this. My hair's a mess.
It's humid, guys. I can't describe enough how awful it feels outside right now.
It feels like it is 90 right now.
The humidity is off the charts. The bugs are off the charts.
Yep. So we opted for long sleeve because we can sweat, but I'd rather not get bitten up because, yeah, we learned from Fort DeSoto. Jacob's got some war memories from that. But
wait, are we doing another shot or no?
Might as well. We're here.
I agree. One more shot and then we're gonna get freaking going.
We're gonna get Kraken. See what I did there?
Boo. Yoink. Yoink.
Dang!
No.
Oh my gosh. Let's do it. Easy. I could have done that double shot. That goes down smooth. I don't know if you have, but I've never had Kraken by itself. We've only ever mixed it.
It's good with Coke, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, by itself, I quite enjoy it. This might get a higher rating than our last few videos.
Dang, that's crazy.
We got to rate it at the end though, so stick around to the end. While you're at it, give us a like.
Give us a like for
comment
the bug
down
bites
below
that we're getting.
Oh
right
yeah,
now.
for every bug bite we get, we expect a like.
Please.
Or a comment, just
Anything.
even if you want to tell us your shirt's
Stupid.
crooked or
We're idiots.
we're going to hell, you know.
Just let us know something.
Let us know down below.
So today's episode, a very interesting topic, Skinwalkers.
And it's very much in the news right now. It's been popular recently, like different sightings.
I feel like I see that all the time on like TikTok. And then also there's that show, I think it's called like The Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch.
Yes, Skinwalker Ranch.
I haven't seen it. I really
haven't
want
watched
to.
it yet, but
yeah. Let us know if you've seen it. Skinwalkers, very interesting topic, very creepy, especially being in the woods right now. Like we thought we'd up the ante, you know, be a part of the environment.
Make it a little bit creepier. It's weird because we're wearing mics, so you're not going to hear any of this noise.
Yeah. So Skinwalkers originated through Navajo lore and legends. Apparently they are medicine men or witches who have used their powers for evil. Essentially sold their souls to the devil and made it so they are immortal and that they can shapeshift, essentially, and turn into animals, most commonly wolves. The Navajo people do not like talking about Skinwalkers. Like they won't say the name. That's the other thing. You're not even supposed to say the word Skinwalker, especially when you're in the woods. So,
and we're going to say Skinwalker a lot today, so.
Yeah. Let us know if you see anything. Oh, it's so freaky in here. All right, Skinwalkers, let's get into it. So this one is from 2 months ago. So this is a recent occurrence.
Okay.
It's a thing right now. People be seeing them. All right, so this is in the Skinwalker thread on Reddit. This is from No Plan 9840. The title is, It Spoke to Me. I had an experience in the woods one night almost 10 years ago. Oh, so this is 10 years ago.
Okay, so this is 10 years ago, but he wrote about it 3 months ago.
It got brought up recently, and they thought they'd share it here. They were 16 at the time, and she snuck out of the house to go smoke weed. Can I say that on YouTube?
I don't know.
So this is in Massachusetts, around 3 a.m., which is a crazy time to be going to the woods. It's not a big plot of woods, it's just a little reservation right in the middle of the Boston suburbs. She went to the entrance of the trail, parked her car, and made her way to the campsite. It's about a 5-minute walk. She went to a very popular smoking area, and she went to a fire that I see.
Oh, like a bonfire? Okay.
Yeah, the bonfire we're smoking.
Yeah.
So she went to the fire that she made, and then she began to roll a joint.
Okay. As
she was doing that, she heard something on 4 legs come up behind her. She didn't sweat it that much because where she's from, the worst it could be was probably a coyote, which actually is pretty bad.
I mean, yeah, I feel like I wouldn't want a coyote behind me either.
Yeah, no. Then she heard it transition into 2 legs and walk with a bipedal walk. That confused me. Then everything went silent. No crickets, no birds, nothing.
See, that's the thing, is silence.
Silence is such a common theme in Skinwalkers. If a Skinwalker's nearby, it's quiet. And you can hear the Skinwalker.
It's kind of like how birds, they can sense that there's a storm coming, so they vacate the area. It's kind of like that. Because like literally.
They can tell like something evil or bad is there.
They're like,
they need to get away from. The only thing I could hear was the crackling of the fire and my own breathing. Then I became very concerned that something bad was about to happen. I call out thinking maybe it's just a homeless dude trying to ask me for some food or for some money.
In the woods at 3 a.m.?
Scared. I say hello and I ask, anyone there? Silence for about a minute. Everything in my body is telling me to run, but I stay because I thought if it's an animal trying to hunt me, I need to stand my ground and make myself appear like I'm not worth the risk. Interesting approach.
Excuse me.
Can you shut up, plane? Then all of a sudden, whatever it was, talked.
Oh no.
It sounded...
What is that? We don't want you to talk, we're talking.
It sounded like a parrot, mimicking its owner's voice, and it asked to bum a light. Can I bum a light? It said.
What the heck? Dude, it's getting creepy out here right now.
Wow, are you hearing this?
There's things moving everywhere around us right now.
And like the bugs have stopped.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? The bugs have stopped.
Yeah.
There's no bugs.
All right.
Let me make sure we're recording. So it said, can I bum a light? And at first, I'm relieved because I know it's not an animal.
Yeah.
But the way it spoke was truly uncanny. I said, sure, but you're gonna have to come out where I can see you because you're giving me the creeps, dude. And then it asked again and again, 3 times. Then I was really freaked out. I knew something was wrong. I told it to leave and go find someone else if you were gonna be creepy about it. Then I could hear it run away on all 4s.
Oh no.
You could hear all 4 feet hitting the ground as it ran away. Then instantly, crickets came back, night birds started to chirp again, and the air even felt warmer. The feeling of dread washed over me, and I knew I had to book it. I calmly packed my stuff back up, put out the fire, and made my way back to my car. I wanted to run, but part of me still believed it was just a dude trying to be creepy with a 16-year-old girl in the woods by herself. If I played it cool and act like I wasn't scared, maybe he'd back off.
Wait a second, she was in the woods by herself?
By herself.
Why would you? That's buddy system 101.
She had a smoke. She's a fiend. I finally see my car, about 200 feet ahead of me. I feel safe, but again, still on high alert. I feel secure enough to look behind me, and sure enough, maybe 40 feet behind me is a male deer on its hind legs in the middle of the trail.
Oh no.
I freak out. I've never heard of a skinwalker, never believed in anything like them, and I didn't even know what they were. But I knew something about that was seriously wrong. I lost my composure and booked it to my car. I made it back with no problem, and I drove off before I could even turn my headlights on.
No, thank you. Like, we have lights. She's at 3 a.m. in the middle of the woods. I imagine with like a flashlight, maybe.
Yeah, I gotta do it.
Can I have a light? What the?
This is the second time that's happened.
It just dropped again.
It's a drop, yeah. It's like someone's salivating over us, bro.
Hey there, big boy. I'm sorry, but
Not worth it.
you're a different breed. If you're gonna go into the woods in the middle of the
3 a.m.
night,
By yourself?
power to you, but
Not for me.
not me.
Not for
Like,
me. Dude, like, what do you do? Like, obviously you see a deer, it's normal, but you see a deer
standing on its two
standing,
legs.
That's not normal.
No, it's like sitting there staring at you when you're leaving.
And it talked to you.
Yeah, skinwalkers, man, they
Yeah.
creep me out. And I remember there's a video where somebody's like on a horse and he's walking on his property, and you just hear something talking in the background, and the horse is freaking out, which kind of goes back to like the whole animals leaving the area and it getting really quiet sort of
Yeah,
thing.
they can tell.
Yeah, so like this horse is freaking out, and you just hear something, hey you, talking in the distance. You can't see anything, but the horse is freaking out. We can talk to ghosts all day, like,
Oh, yeah.
but the moment you're vulnerable, it's kind of like you're in an ocean. You're in their area, like
And here we are,
We're-
vulnerable in the middle of the forest.
we can't see them, they can see us. We're gonna be packing up real fast, I'll tell you that much.
I swear I heard some talking or something right there. I'm losing my mind.
This was written by Truth by Fire in the No Sleep Reddit. It's titled Skinwalker. This is from 12 years ago. I won't reveal who I am or much about where I live, and to be honest, it's been a few months since this happened, but I just came to terms with it now, and I have to warn people about what's out there. Warning, this is a very long read, and some of the content below is very disturbing, but I can't hold back. Here's my story.
Dang, that's a crazy intro.
That's a nice intro, I like that. I feel like we're on a Discovery Channel show right now.
Yeah.
Occasionally, I like to go hiking with my friends. There's not much more to it. Honestly, we live in a small mountain town in Colorado. It was fun at first, but by now, we all know the trails by heart. By the end of last summer, there was only one we hadn't tried. Now, there's a reason for that. The trail goes right through a portion of the forest that the UTE people, UTS people, is that?
I don't know.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful, so tell us down in the comments below how to pronounce that, because I've honestly never heard of that.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Considered sacred. So I assume it's a Native American tribe. So the UT people is what I'm gonna go with, but obviously correct me if I'm wrong. I'll admit I have hang-ups when it comes to these things. You don't wear hats in a church, you don't let the American flag touch the ground, you don't trudge all over someone's sacred land for the fun of it. Still, my friend, we'll call him Mark, convinced me to go. He said that regardless of whether I went, he'd go anyways. And since no one else was going, he managed to convince me into going with him. That's another one of my hang-ups. Don't go hiking alone. Don't let friends go hiking alone. Too many tragic news stories start that way.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, that's the buddy system. I mean, we're here together. We would not be doing this alone for
No
sure.
shot.
So I ended up going with him reluctantly. The whole way there, he was talking about how this was the coolest trail he'd ever been on. Yes, he had been there before, though only once. His manipulative ploy had been to get me to come with him so he could show me. Jeez, these bugs are huge.
That's a massive one.
So he
Getting
could,
worse by the minute.
I know. He admitted this all in the casual way that friends admit to being asses to friends. Sometimes I don't blame him. I had a tendency to have a stick up my butt, and what followed only reinforced it. This is a lot of buildup. I'm expecting a huge,
I know. There's
huge
gonna
like
be like a
peak.
crazy
Like we're
climax.
climbing the mountain. We're gonna get to this climax, and it's gonna be it's gonna be a volcano.
Stick around.
We arrived at about 9. I remember giving us plenty of time. It was farther away from town than most trails, and it wasn't near a paved road, so there was a lot of walking just to get there. No tourists knew about it. A lot of locals and even some, see, this is Oot people, I'm sorry again, didn't know about it. But if you followed a game trail through a bunch of trees, it would widen out and lead its way through some mountainous, densely forest terrain. What struck me was how quiet it was. This apparently was what Mark found so awesome. For some reason, in this particular place, you couldn't hear any birds chirping or any wildlife whatsoever.
And that's a sign of Skinwalkers.
Yeah, it's kind of quiet out right now.
I know, I feel like it did quiet out.
It was complete and utter silence. Eventually, I had to urinate. I stepped off the main road just so Mark wouldn't see me. As I was going, I spotted something through the trees. It looked like some sort of clearing just past a shallow creek with a log going over it. My curiosity got the better of me as I looked at the log. It didn't seem to be an act of nature. It was a makeshift bridge, I was sure. True enough, when I tested it, it seemed to be stable. I put one foot in front of the other and crossed. When I reached the other end, I pulled my way through some trees and saw the first image of the day that I will never forget, though to many, it wouldn't have seemed like much. In front of me, there was a vegetation, trees, ferns, and brush, but suddenly it all stopped. Within a perfect circle surrounded by small, perfectly arranged rocks, there was nothing but smooth dirt. It was strange because the shape of the rocks was absolutely perfect. They were partially submerged in the soil and fit together like bricks. Every single one of them was the same uniform white color. And as I got closer, I saw things have been carved on them, symbols. They were old, very old. Even if I had understood them, their distinct shapes had been lost over the years. That was strange, but what disturbed me was that the circle wasn't actually perfect. On the edge, just one, a group of rocks had been kicked up. They were scattered around as if they had actually been a perfect brick wall and something had shattered them. In this area, the otherwise perfectly smooth dirt had been kicked up. There was something about it that just unsettled me. As quiet as the entire forest was, it felt quieter here. I quickly turned around and went back to Mark, who made some lame number 2 joke. Noise. I should have forced them to leave right there. Instead though, we kept going. After all, the day was only halfway over. While the forest itself was cool, at least from Mark's perspective, I found the trail to be rather disappointing. It just went on and on. There were no alternative paths, and there were hardly any challenging terrain. For Colorado, this whole area was just so flat. It was hardly a hike at all. The trail was just long, very long. It took us until noon to reach the end, and there was no one else on it. I knew that it was a hard trail to find, and many of the other locals might share my sentiments, but we were there all day, and we didn't run into anyone. Of course, it wasn't until we reached the end that things started to get really weird. The trail didn't loop at all, and I inwardly groaned, knowing that we'd be walking these 3 same boring hours back. We took our time eating lunch. As we did, I could swear I heard the noises for the first time. There were animals moving through the forest nearby. We could hear the rustling of the brush. I looked and saw through the foliage the vague outline of a single buck's head. Just like the last story.
Another deer. I've heard that so many times where it's like people see Skinwalkers as deer.
Yeah, like a deer head. Like, I wonder if that's a thing. Like, we've always heard it as like a wolf, like a dog or a wolf. Like, that's weird that, or like a coyote even.
Yeah, but a deer. I feel like that's a common theme. I don't know.
I don't know, let's keep going. We packed up what was left of our lunches and started the trek back. Every once in a while, I would hear the rustling again. I'd look into the trees, and oftentimes I would see the buck's head. Eventually though, I noticed that it was making far too much noise and was doing so far too frequently. I told Mark to slow down and stop, and being Mark, he cracked a joke about it, but finally he went silent and we both still heard the rustling.
Damn Mark, man, that
I know.
guy is just...
Man, Mark, just buzz off, Mark,
You
come on
suck.
now. Now even Mark was a little freaked out. He turned back and saw the vaguest outline of the buck's head again. This time to me, there seemed to be something wrong. The head was far too high up around the higher branches of the tree. I noticed it, Mark didn't. I should have said something, but I didn't have time. Just as soon as it was there, it was gone again, going off further into the forest. I remember Mark talking about how deer were annoying as hell, about how he was going to scare it off or something. I don't remember exactly what he said, and that bothers me because I should remember. He's one of my best friends. I do remember him yelling at it, and at one time it was funny. Hey Buck, yeah you, leave us alone.
Mark's a weirdo.
Yeah. He walked off the road and disappeared down a ridge behind a layer of trees pursuing it. For a minute there was silence. That became 2. Mark, I called out. No answer. 5 minutes passed. I climbed down the ridge after him. Mark? I followed the general direction he had gone in, keeping the way back to the road in mind. I wouldn't go far, I knew, because he was smart enough not to go far. He hadn't. After a short time, I found a place where there was signs of a struggle. In addition, there was blood. There was a lot of blood. It was all over the trees and the ground. I cursed to myself. There were other things too. In addition to the blood, pieces of flesh that I didn't like to look at. There were marks showing that something had been dragged away from here. Mark, I called out furiously now, forgetting the trail for a second.
Yo, imagine Mark's dead.
I know. I ran forward along the drag marks. Okay. After running too far to be safe, I reached a small ravine with a creek running through it. I narrowly stopped myself. It wasn't a long drop, but it hurt you, and a sprained ankle in the middle of the forest was bad news. The trail stopped here. Mark, I murmured, then called out again, Mark? Something heard, but it wasn't Mark. Across the ravine from me, I heard rustling and saw the trees stirring. Something stepped through the foliage and revealed itself. This was the second image burned into my mind. Please give me a second. I've spent every day for the last few months trying to tell myself this wasn't real. At first, I saw a head, the head of a buck again, but it came forward and I realized it was 7 feet above the ground. That's just like the buck standing up in the last video.
So it's taking a form of like a deer, but then it's also like human and also like big and standing.
And it's taking a bipedal walk, like that's crazy.
That's aggressive is what that is.
I was staring a 7-foot creature straight in the face that had a massive buck's head, but a humanoid body.
Like, what do you do? Like, what do you do after seeing that?
I mean, I feel like just get in the fetal position and pray. Like, that's all you can do at that point, because 7 foot, he's jumping that ravine. He's coming for you.
Oh, you're screwed.
The creature snorted. Its buck face remained neutral, scared looking even, as if it wasn't sure of the malicious whims of the body beneath it. There was blood dripping from its horns, which were not at all like the horns of the average buck, but jagged, pointed, and unorganized. A mess of sharp, bloody points. Its human body was dark-skinned and naked, with very human genitalia.
Oh.
It's dripping blood, just like its horns, implying things that I don't want to think of. I remember both its arms and its legs. They started human, but near the bottom they started distorting and became animalistic. At the ends of its legs were powerful hooves. At the end of its arms were hands with long claws, every bit as jagged as the horns on its head. In one of those claws, Mark's body was being held by his shirt.
No.
That's
tell me
crazy.
Mark's dead?
I don't know. Is Mark? We haven't gotten to that point. I hope Mark's not dead.
Well, look at him.
Mark's body was being held by his shirt. I examined him only briefly, just long enough to notice that the shape of his head was not what it had once been. For a moment, there was silence. I didn't scream. I couldn't believe what was in front of me. Then, the creature's ears ruffled. It dropped Mark's bodies apathetically and started backing up. Its deer head hung lazily to the side as it moved. My brain rang. Suddenly, it's going to jump the gap. It's coming for me. With the logical side of my mind shut off, I turned around and ran. Hopefully in the exact opposite direction of the way I came, behind me.
So it did not do fetal position.
No. So he ran.
He's booking it.
Behind me, I heard a powerful grunt and then a scuffle of the monster landing on the bank. There was a horrifying roar, something that sounded like a buck and a grizzly bear shouting together. I had never run so fast or so desperately in all my life, but it was gaining on me. As I ran through the forest, I started to feel its warm, hungry breath on my back. Its hands were extending, and I swear I could feel one of its claws scratch me. I ran and scurried up the bank leading to the path. I don't know how I got there without it grabbing me, but I did. Then I took off down the road, hoping that I was going the right direction. While running, I threw off my backpack and gained some speed. I think the bank delayed it slightly. That's the only reason I can account as to how I may have gotten ahead of it. Somehow, I ran and ran and ran. I didn't stop. Eventually, I didn't hear it anymore, but I didn't care. I kept running, and I had never been a long-distance runner, but my adrenaline was not going to wear off anytime soon, and I intended to take advantage of it. He pulled a Forrest Gump right there.
That's insane.
This is
I mean, yeah, this is a crazy story.
It's starting to get fictional, I feel like.
I'm like, is this real? What the?
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
We'll see what happens at the end. When I reached the end of the trail and saw the road again, I couldn't believe it. I got into my car. Just before I took off, I shot a glance back at the trail. At the point where it went up between two mountains and was visible from the road, I would regret it. Standing there near the beginning of the trail was the Skinwalker, as I've come to call it. It had given up its chase, but it stood there watching me hungrily, waiting to see if I would come back. Its deer head hung lazily and dead to the side. The blood on its body was beginning to dry. It had run the whole trail and it didn't look tired at all. I twisted the ignition, floored the car, and never came back. They never found Mark, and I would never explain what happened. No one would believe me. Though I needed to tell someone, which is why I'm posting it here. It came back to me in my dreams, nightmares, that creature, the Skinwalker. Somehow I doubt that forest was really sacred. In fact, I'm sure it was the opposite. Because the image that flashes through my mind most often is not the horrific creature. It isn't Mark's the mutilated corpse. It's that circle, which must have been maintained over the years by those who knew, those who understood. That old circle left alone for so long that had been quietly penetrated. This story got sexual.
Dude, what? Is that it?
Yeah, that's the end.
What in the world? That sounds like someone's writing a book. Like, that sounds so fake.
If it's real, like, that's crazy, but like...
Wouldn't they have to do like a whole like
investigation
for Mark? Like, that
right.
man died. He never came back.
And he was the last one seen with him. So like, there's a case that he killed him.
I'm surprised. Oh yeah, maybe he did.
Maybe he wrote it from jail. He's trying to write his innocence.
That's insane. That's a crazy ass story.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that one might be a little bit stretched.
That's a
but like, if it's real, that's crazy.
I mean, that's nuts. I mean, they do, a lot of stories have skinwalkers as deer.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because in the Navajo lore, it's usually a wolf. So I'm wondering if...
Maybe it's a Wendigo that he saw?
Oh. No, because Wendigos are not in Colorado.
No.
Wendigos are in mountainous states, which is Colorado, but they're in more northern states.
Okay.
Wendigos are more northeast USA and into Canada.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that could be. And that's the other question that I have about skinwalkers, wendigos, things like that. Is like, obviously, skinwalkers are more Navajo lore, and that is southwestern United States.
Yeah.
Wendigos are northeastern United States and into Canada. But like, what about the rest of the country? Like, what about Florida? Like, what about all these different, like Kentucky, all these different places where people have claimed to have seen skinwalkers?
Right.
Like, what are those?
I mean, we've talked about it before. I wonder if it's all the same creature, just different lore, different legends, different cultures.
Names.
What's described as the Wendigo is also a skinwalker, which is also a mimic, which is also whatever there's a name for, and it's just different parts, different regions for different cultures. I mean, that could be potentially something as well as like, just depending on like where it was. I mean, everything's based on legends and drawings, and so maybe just different interpretations. Oh no.
That was terrifying. Our light died. All right, so now I've got a lot of personal stories about growing up in this house.
In these woods.
And growing up being in these woods all the time. That's a lot of those are stories for other days. I've got too many to count. For now, I'll bring up some that may relate to skinwalkers.
You said there's one that you haven't even told me before.
There's one that you don't know. I don't think you know it.
So I'm gonna be listening to this for the first time like you guys.
You're on the edge of your seat. So the first one you do know, I don't know, it's probably like 8 or 9, 10 p.m., dark outside. Mm-hmm. And it was myself and my friend Charlie. We are simply, we're done hanging out. He's going back to his car and we're just still talking, whatever. We walk out the front door and we're walking along. The woods are to the left. And all of a sudden, we hear kids laughing. And I'm talking like stereotypical, like children in a horror movie laughing. There's no kids in the house. There's no kids in the neighborhood. There's nobody outside. And it sounds like they're right next to us.
Yeah.
There's no reason for that. There is no reason for us to have heard children laughing. And again, I don't know if that's like Skinwalker or Ghost or whatever.
But like, you both heard it too.
We both heard it, and not trying to put my boy on blast here, but he got so scared, he went back inside and asked my mom to walk him out. It was a serious thing. He wouldn't have done that otherwise.
That's crazy.
You know,
like,
it was
hearing it every single time. Like it's.
I can still hear it to this day. Like it's that clear. Like it was insane. I don't know what that could have been. If you know what children laughing means, please let me know, or don't, if it's bad.
I mean, I kind of want to know if it's bad.
Yeah.
I'll read that comment. Also, it got eerily quiet, and I've been feeling it get cool now.
Yeah. Yes.
Like
I'm like not sweating anymore.
Like it has drastically dropped in temperature. Skinwalker or Ghost, leave us alone.
Please. We'll close it on this one then.
Okay. This one's the one that I don't know.
I don't think you know. And I was just recently reminded of this one, but I don't know how I forgot about this. This was when I was still living here. This honestly was probably 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
I always stay up late. It's my thing. I'm more creative at night. I work later. I like staying up late. When I lived here, I was always the last one awake. Everyone would go to bed at a reasonable time, and I'd be up till degenerate hours until the morning. One night, it was probably, I mean, honestly, I don't know. I couldn't say the time. It was between the hours of 1 and probably 3
Like
a.m.
4, yeah.
Yeah, 1 to 4, 1 to 3, somewhere around there. And I'm the only one up. Everyone else is sleeping. I'm sitting at the counter in the kitchen, and I hear my mom. I hear her voice.
Oh my gosh.
And she's like calling out, but she's calling out to my sister, and she's seeing if she's there, seeing if she's awake. And I hear it coming from, I'll actually put a diagram of this. So it's like, I'm in the kitchen at the counter. Straight ahead of me is the laundry room. To the left is my parents' room down a hallway. To the right down a hallway, it's my sister's room. So it's like this T. And I hear my mom coming from the laundry room in front of me. It's like slightly in front of me. So she's out of her room.
Yeah.
Clearly, she's in the middle of the house. She's out of her room. I hear her. And she's talking in the direction of like where my sister is. So I'm like, Mom? I wait. I hear it again. I said, Mom? And then I get up because I want to see what's going on.
Yeah.
And I look in the laundry room. She's not there. I look to my right where my sister's room is. Door's closed. Look to my left where my parents' room is. Door's closed.
Shut. Oh my gosh.
I, clear as day, heard her
Calling for your
calling
sister.
for my sister.
That's crazy. You haven't told me that one, I don't think.
And she wasn't there. She was fast asleep. I told her about it the next day. She was like, nope, I was sleeping. That did not happen.
That's crazy.
And I was...
Because like, even if she
awake.
was sleepwalking, like you would have heard her shut the door. You would have...
Exactly. Where do I
Lots
look?
of noises.
There's so many different like steps that could have solved that.
Right.
But both doors were shut. She was not aware of it. I did not see her. I never heard walking. I just heard the voice.
One of the things about Jacob's house is you don't want to be in there at night by yourself. I'll tell you that much.
It's creepy.
It is so creepy. And you get the feeling throughout like the whole house, like we've filmed videos at night in the house.
Yeah.
The whole time I'm just like, man
it's
it feels like
creepy in
something's
here.
behind me. Like, it feels like somebody's looking over my shoulder.
We should make a separate video about that house because something's up with it.
There's stories, but I don't know that your parents would be okay with us filming in there.
They wouldn't. They're still living there. They'd be very upset if we ghost hunted there.
Sometimes you just don't want to answer those questions.
You don't. You don't want to stir anything up. You don't want to mess with anything. That's why, like, I don't know that we'll ever investigate there. One time, I was in the woods, and we found bones in like the mud because like the river had dried up or whatever.
Yeah.
We think they were cow bones. The weird part about it is they're all lined up.
Oh my gosh.
All
So somebody,
lined up. And it wasn't like someone had just done it.
Yeah.
Like they had been there, and they were all lined up.
just like the story of the rocks,
Yeah.
perfectly in a circle.
Oh shoot! I didn't even think about that.
Yikes! Tell us the significance of that, because I'm kind of ignorant to that. Of
Yeah.
like, I don't know what that means.
I don't either. I have no idea.
Like, is circular or straight line?
Again, I don't know if it's that weird chirping, but I thought I heard talking right
Yeah,
there.
and that's where I heard the talking from earlier.
And that's where we heard that
Big
beast.
beast of a thing.
Are we recording? I'm ready to get out of here.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. It is well past 11,
I feel like we've endured enough bug bites.
and enough fear to last us for a good week or two.
If you want to see more videos in the woods, let us know.
Yeah,
Or
I mean,
if you want another video of just us talking about the experiences at the house,
For
also
sure.
let us know.
Or-
And also, what do you guys think about Skinwalkers? I mean, there's just so much lore around them. There's so many stories. Do you have a story about a Skinwalker? Have you heard anything about them?
do you think they're overhyped?
Are
Do you
they
think?
real?
Let us know down below. We're curious to hear what you guys have to say.
But I guess that's it for this video. So
Once again, leave a like down below, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And we'll see you in the next video.
peace out. You hear that?